Okay, great. Okay, we're gonna start with Audit LA. Okay, there we go.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
So,
I just want to remind, I know I spoke of it last time, that the surrounding neighbors, of Big Blue have been complaining a lot about excessive noise, very high decibel noise, and it seems like nobody's listening, is falling on deaf ears and maybe causing deaf ears. And so, as a neighborhood council, I hope that you would, I believe they've reached out to you as well, that you would take on the issues of sound, because I know that Scientology does not need to have a LAPD permit for their subwoofers and their live music because they're exempt because of their church, but they're not blasting church music. So I just want you to be aware of that. Also, continued no to the street vacation that they're planning on applying for, and also to make sure now that we're getting into their probably their endless things that we, huh? Is that it? Okay, I can't hear you. So,
you have about like 10 more seconds if you
oh, okay.
just gonna move
I
on.
just heard you interrupt. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear it. And also just a reminder that you guys are entitled to know about street closure permits, and to make sure you did put in a letter for that, that the city would notify you, that the Bureau of Street Services would notify you, and I hope that you're following through and making sure that they are, because you need to be aware for the thing. And also wanted to ask if there is going to be a bid meeting tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Since we have Jeff on, is there going to be a bid meeting tomorrow? Maybe we can just answer that while I'm.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you for answering that. Okay. I am going to move on to Henry.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, Henry. You should be able to speak now.
Hey, thank you. Good evening. I just wanted to follow up on the inquiry of the bid meeting. It's been an issue for the last quarter that the bid meetings either have not occurred and the link for joining are added and not working. Moving on from that, um, the neighborhood councils could greatly use a increase in revenue, and so could the overall city. In addition to some of the points that Audit mentioned, it behooves this neighborhood council to seriously write a CIS at the very least, or contact uh, at least CD13 to verify. When we already know, but just to get him particularly on the record on the fact that L. Ron Hubbard Way is not a private street, and furthermore that it is in fact allowable to park there, and parking meters should in fact be installed. The fact of the
Thank
matter
you,
is,
Henry. That's the end of the minute. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move to Mona. Hi, Mona.
Good afternoon, good evening, thank you. Point of order, it's always been 2 minutes, not 1 minute, but okay, thank you. I'll try and talk fast. Two things. One, the neighbors were not notified or given information about the street closure coming up on on the 20th of April on L. Ron Hubbard Way. And so they are not in compliance with their permit. Two, there's been quite a few renovations for the fourplexes and sixplexes along L. Ron Hubbard in Catalina, and none of them, they're all older properties, but they definitely need to still be in compliance with FHA once their renovation starts. And I don't see anything coming into accessible units whatsoever. So that definitely needs to be looked at. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Mona. Okay, I'm going to. It looks like Audit LA has a comment or a question. So I am going to, Leo, I'm gonna mute you temporarily and give Audit LA a chance to speak for a minute, and then if the committee would like you to like answer on subject matter, I'll unmute you again. So just so you know.
Oh, sure.
Okay, Audit LA, you should be able to speak.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate Calder for asking the tougher questions, because it does feel like a lot of times I've noticed that businesses don't always respect the neighborhood councils. In fact, they've even gotten laws changed in city council so they, don't have to do as much with the neighborhood council. So I think it's prudent to fight for that respect, because you definitely deserve it. You're the front line in the community, and people are going to be complaining to you if things go wrong. And I also want to say we are very saturated with cannabis shops, and I don't think we have to be, hasty getting into them. And if any business feels that they just have to do the basic what's necessary by law, but not have the respect to come and, shake your hand and say, hey, we want to be part of the community and work with you, then I wouldn't give the support, and I would say no. And if they still get it, then they get it. But I think the neighborhood councils need to stand up, even with Bonk and with the city council, and demand more of that process to be able to evaluate. Thank you.
Some comments. Okay, I'm going to move it to Henry. I'm going to give you an allowance to talk.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, Henry, there you go.
Thank you. I really just had one is a question for this board, and then one is for the gentleman with the petitioning for the license. I always like to ask for small businesses, there's a lot that you can do for the community. One is jobs, but also more of a community space. I'm curious to hear on your take what it is that you believe you're providing to the community besides, frankly, yet another weed shop. And to the board, I think at the very least, in fairness, I'm not sure when the gentleman made his petition via email. If it was yesterday, it could have been months ago. But I think that does merit some clarification on whether he did, try in good faith to reach out beforehand in a reasonable time. So that's all I had.
What I'm trying to tell you, Leo, is I don't want you making all this investment in this facility, because I'm going to make sure that that Hope Center is going to be listed correctly as a rehabilitation center. So I'm just, because that's what it is. And if it wasn't classified correctly, it doesn't make it right because of some technicality, and that's what culture is referring to. It doesn't make it right to say that it isn't when in fact it is. So
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm saying we follow the letter of the law, Jeff.
well, the law, it's not really what the question is. The law is the law, correct? However,
Okay.
the classification of that facility is what's incorrect. So, and it didn't follow into the bucket so that the law could be right now, that it could be enforced. You see what I'm saying? So if it was changed tomorrow to correctly state on the social services website that it was in fact a social rehabilitation facility, then what? You've made all this investment into this cannabis, but then it would be taken away overnight because now you're within so many feet of a sensitive sensitive business.
We haven't let anyone do public comment on this item.
What item?
The ED1 projects.
Oh, I guess that's true. Let me see. Okay, give me a second.
Finally.
Okay, folks who have their hand raised, I will gradually go one by one to give you a minute of public comment on I guess it's action item A in the agenda for those who are following. Okay, I'm gonna move to Mona. Hi, Mona.
Thank you for the time. I know we've talked about these EDI projects in the past, and My concern in the past has been accessible and affordable housing for people with disabilities. And on those plans, I don't see any of the ADAGs requirements being followed. And two, I still want to know how many set asides for Section 8 vouchers are going to be included in those low income. They need to have Section 8 voucher set asides. And I hear that I need to call over to the city council office. I will do that. Audit LA will do that. But again, the people with disabilities and the disability community are being totally 86 out of these freaking projects.
Okay, thank you, Mona. I was curious what you're like, if you can like maybe specify the acronym you're using for the group and also where you're looking. I would look more into it personally.
Absolutely. Federal Housing Authority has what's called the ADA, Americans with Disability Act Accessibility Guidelines. It's called the ADAG, basically the same thing as the ADA requirements for businesses and all of that, except for this is for the housing units. And there's a certain amount of units that need to be wheelchair accessible, handicap accessible, of course, all of the path of travel, all of the major units or the public areas need to be accessible. But the ADAG is a requirement, and I was looking at the plans, and they don't have the number of units. And two, the Section 8 voucher set-asides for people with disabilities is different than just income requirements. So they have a certain amount of set-asides for those Section 8 vouchers for people with disabilities, and they have to make sure that they comply with how many set-asides per unit. So those are the two different things. They are different than just low income.
Got it. Mona, if you I would I could look into this a little bit more. If you wanted to email me, I'm at Stephanie, STEPHANIE Park, PARK at easthollywood.net. If you want to shoot me an email, I could try to look into it a little bit more as well.
I would appreciate it. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the list. Okay, Henry, I'm gonna allow you. Oh, what did I do? Nope, I did something.
You did me.
Sorry, hang on.
This
Henry,
meeting is
okay,
being
you're
recorded.
allowed to talk.
Thank you. I just want to support what Mona said, and particularly I want to clarify. So I have reached out to various city council members. It's not that we take issue with the neighborhood councils. It's specifically the fact that the councilor members themselves are behaving in an erratic, irrational, and negligent fashion. And I think I come here in strong support of the neighborhood councils, although we might disagree on certain things. The fact of the matter is you guys are literally the only body that's actually responsive and actually gives a crap, seriously. And so I don't want to belittle that you are merely just an advisory, you have just an advisory position. It's really much more than that. And the fact of the matter is, there's 99 of you guys, okay? And there's only 13 council members. And so I think it's a much bigger issue, but again, I support the neighborhood councils. I don't support the council members. I take serious issue with them, and it's not for a lack of trying.
Thank you for your comment. I'm trying to be fair and give folks a minute, but I appreciate that vote of confidence from you for purposes of the neighborhood council. Yeah, I appreciate that take. Thank you. Can someone remind me, did I give Audit LA the minute on this item or not? I cannot remember. I don't think so.
No, you didn't.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Audit LA, you were next on this list. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Jeff, for getting me in. Okay, there is a group here that has been advocating. I don't know the name of it, but I am going to send it forward. They're advocating that that we could get all the housing requirements we need to be, with the law, but doing it in commercial areas. Like you have the Ralphs on the bottom, you have apartments on top. You see that at Hollywood and Western, and that could meet all of our needs, so we don't have to lose all of our bungalows. We don't have to have these big projects in between, and with a house in between and then another big project. It can be done. So they've been advocating, because like you don't want to become a North Hollywood, and it sounds like you're fast becoming a North Hollywood, here, and so it's not good. But I also wanted to say that you do have power in the sense that, to gain your approval, you can be demanding certain concessions. That's what that's what other places do too. Okay, it's like, okay, you want to, because they want the letter of support. It makes it easier. It makes it better, and so you can say, hey, negotiate that, and you should be doing that. But I want to ask you also to put something on the agenda, because did you do new business yet? Because I want
Yeah,
to comment on that.
Oh, we were in that section, but
Oh.
I'm gonna move you just to be fair, but thank you for sharing. Okay, Monica, you are going to be allowed to speak. There we go.
Great, thank you. I agree with Coulter comments, Mona, Henry, Audit LA. Absolutely, I think you guys are rushing decisions that needs to be taken slowly, understand what's going on, where is everything going. There's a lot of construction that is huge around, and it might be resolved the issue, and it might not be needed to have all these big things happening. Parking can be a situation, and I think approving and going so fast with things we can be sooner than later into a whole mess, like Walter said. Like if we rewind this video that is being recorded, he explained it clearly. So let's don't not rush this. And as much as we want to help people, low income and everything, let's give it some thought, because we will be into something really and not to the favor to the community.
Okay,
So
thank
that's
you.
it, you guys.
Did myself. Thank you, Monica. Are we doing comments on new and old business? I thought that was just for committee members, to be honest, but I could be wrong.
I can't remember us doing it in the past, but it's your call.
You know?
No.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Say the question again.
There was an inquiry about public comment on new or old business. I thought that was just a committee specific area, to be honest.
So I
You can ask for public comment if you want.
I guess since there was a question about it, I will give whoever asked for it a minute if they would
At the
like.
discretion of the chair. So.
We've already gone quite a long time. So if anyone wants to, I cannot remember, I'm sorry, who had inquired about that. So
Audit LA.
Okay, Audit LA, if you would like a minute, you please raise your hand and I can give you a minute on new and old business. Typically, we've kind of just left it to the committee members, but since you've requested, why not? Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Other boards do it. So just to let you know. And thank you, Jeff, yet again. I appreciate it. Okay, I just wanted to ask you, because, here we are talking about parking, that I am asking you to put on the agenda, because this is definitely a plum issue, just to find out whether or not L. Ron Hubbard Way is a no parking street. Because as we know, there's a lot of people that use L. Ron Hubbard Way. They may want to go to the church there, but I know they have their own parking. But there's also 3 hospitals in the vicinity. There's a metro, okay, and there's a lot of neighbors, okay. So if it's not legally a no parking street, and the city is collecting, if people do park there, they're giving out tickets. It's wrong. You guys really need to get to the bottom of it. I can't get to LAPD can't tell me, DOT can't tell me, the neighborhood council, the city council, no one seems to know. So could you please put it on your agenda to push the city to make a determination? If it is, it is. If it's not, it's not. That's another issue. But we need to know facts. And I appreciate if you could do that. Thank you.